But the what you were just saying and everything reminds me of another thing I've just been thinking about a lot lately, which is how much more powerful I think it is to study the Bible in community. Because I read, in preparation for this, I read this story yesterday, but I didn't like put together the whole like wrestling thing until after we started talking today. And then I was like, oh wait, Jacob always had to struggle for this. And so I don't know. I just think there's a beauty in that we don't always emphasize. It's almost like, I know there's Bible studies and they have group Bible studies, but I don't know.
Unfortunately, for most of us, the Bible studies we've experienced throughout the years in church is typically just a sermon with everyone's Bible open.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or a fill in the blank. And it's really not asking for creative input from people. Yeah. There's someone leading it. They know what they want to teach. They know what the goal or the outcome is. And you're just asking people to agree with your assessment, at least. And maybe that's just me projecting on my experiences in Bible study. But for the most part, I wasn't ever really involved in Bible studies until, I had the privilege of starting some. Mm-hmm. That people actually were invited to contribute their ideas and actually change the direction of the discussion.
Yeah, I think that's the key, because thinking back to all the Bible studies I went to growing up, it was very much that. It was just like additional preaching,
yes.
Yeah. And sometimes it wouldn't be necessarily the pastor or the priest, doing it. It would be some designated teacher, but it was still like you're coming as an empty vessel to be filled with that knowledge, rather than we're going to explore this text in community together. So, yeah. And I don't know. To me, for some reason today was just sort of driving that home to me.
Or the Bible studies, were you guys ever I feel like there was a whole little trend where instead of actually studying other things during the week, it was we get together to discuss the sermon. So instead of going to the Bible on your own, let's discuss the sermon is the point of the group.
Interesting.
So then you're still that one, you're removed from encountering the text on your own, because now you're just talking about what the teacher said.
The interpretation that was given to you.
I remember one time I showed up at a Bible study and I got there. It was the first time I ever attended it, and everyone pulled out, I think it was a Beth Moore book, which I don't have anything necessarily against Beth Moore, but I was like, wait, I thought this was a Bible study. Yeah. And it's well, we're reading this book by Beth Moore together, and she talks about the Bible in it.
Yeah. That is very interesting, because now that I'm thinking about it, every women's Bible study or women's study group,
with some air quotes going on here for those that are listening.
Lots of air quotes. It was never actually just straight up studying the Bible. It was always through Beth Moore or Joyce Meyer or something else.
Well, I can tell you, and I know we're a little off topic, but I think it's important while we're here, is that the way that I have attempted to craft the way we do Bible studies and stuff with our community, and we haven't always been successful. I don't want to make it sound like we've nailed it every time, right? But where it is communal contribution, people are reading the text. We have the Bibles open in front of us. We're going through them. We're suggesting ideas. We're having fun talking about the text, or at least I am. The number of pastors, colleagues of mine, who are aren't you ever worried about what someone would say that doesn't have training? And I'm like, no. I say things that are wrong and have to go back and fix it.
Yeah.
But there is a fear that as much as we've, moved things from the Latin Mass to English so that way people could understand, and we moved things from stained glass windows to printed Bibles so that way people could access it, there's still a mindset in the church that the authority remains in the pulpit.
Yeah.
And I don't disagree in the sense that I might have more knowledge, more time studying, more experience, more expertise in the topic. However, that does not preclude then others from having things of value to bring to the table.
Right.
And always a collective wisdom is better than individual wisdom. So,
yeah. Agreed.